Hey Snapchat, this morning I'm going to talk about one of the biggest mistakes I see early stage startups make. I like to say that the scarcest resource in an early stage startup is not cash, it's management bandwidth. The reason this becomes such a problem from startup teams is that they're not clear on what their strategy actually is. When you're not clear on strategy, you chase all sorts of opportunities. When you want to think about some of our more successful consumer companies, for example, WhatsApp, Snapchat, in the last 5 years, they've been extremely focused. It's really hard to define strategy, so often early stage teams are just moving all over the place chasing shiny objects. And especially when you read the press and you're constantly reading all the new announcements that companies are making, it's easy to look around and go do lots of things. Great startups are defined more by what they say no to than what they say yes to. Leaders, founders, CEOs that allow themselves to get distracted are less successful. What I like to see is a really narrowly focused execution and strategy, and if it's not working, then define the reasons why it's not working and make small fixes and then constantly test whether those fixes make improvement. The problem is compounded because most investors and even many mentors and advisors simply haven't built startups themselves, so they fall prey to the same problem. I see investors all the time telling startups, well, why aren't you doing this? And why aren't you doing that? All these other companies are doing it. You need a strong vision. You need a sense of conviction. You need to stick with your plans and only expand it when you see things aren't working. I want to give you a real world example that I talk about all the time because I think it'll be instructive. As you probably know, I invested in a storage company called MakeSpace. They're currently live in 4 cities, New York, Chicago, DC, and Los Angeles. So many outside investors and advisors are telling us, you need to be in more cities, you need to be in Hong Kong, you need to be in London. We are hyper-focused on being successful in the markets that we're in. So many outsiders are saying you need to create a marketplace so people can sell their stuff in storage like you sell it on eBay. But here's the thing, that's a future strategy. Right now we're focused on crushing public storage. Our product is so much better, our pricing and service is so much more compelling. If we just stick to that, we're going to grow incredibly fast. If we win at just doing that, the market in the US alone is worth $31 billion. Trust me, we don't need to race to Asia or to Europe. If we listen to all the people around us who actually don't live in the company every day, who don't have the data every day, we'd be distracted like chasing shiny objects. So in summary, number 1, force yourself to put a tight definition about what your strategy actually is. Make sure you're really clear on why you believe that strategy is going to cause you to be successful. Make sure you're answering the hard questions about why your product's going to be much better than anything else in the market, and be really clear why economically this is better to your users or your customers or your third-party contributors. It's okay to constantly challenge whether or not you think your strategy is still relevant or correct. What's not okay is to constantly move and change and add overall to your workload. And I promise you, the teams that are constantly planting seeds across way too many things end up with the following problem. It's what Brad Garlinghouse, when he was at Yahoo, once called the peanut butter manifesto. He said the problem with Yahoo is they spread way too many bets evenly around a piece of bread like you do spreading peanut butter. He said it would be better if Yahoo made the hard decisions about the markets they could win in and go deep in a few key markets you can win. I hope that can be a metaphor for you to remind yourself to say no to spreading really thin across a piece of bread. Go deep and win on the things that matter.